Hello, everybody. I'm so happy that you're here. And whether you've been following our very windy road from the beginning or you're just joining us for the first time, just welcome. Welcome to our spring network gathering in honor of the ever evolving Universal Love Curriculum and the very potent times that we are living in, where a grounded capacity to love ourselves and each other beneath our many seeming differences and in the midst of so much turbulence is so needed now. It's needed now more than ever. And even now, myself, like my own ability to stay true and connected to a deeper vision while going through a rather turbulent and destabilizing life moment is in a hotel right now while my house is being restored after a fire that started with a stored computer in my closet that just spontaneously ignited. So this is also like a little public message for any of you who might have stored technology with lithium batteries. Just make sure that they're not in like very enclosed spaces. So life has been teaching me a lot, which is also why I'm so grateful to have Matthew Ashdown with me today, helping with the technical aspects of our call and providing me with some moral support, which I've really needed. So I thought before we begin, I'd love to just get a sense of who's here. So maybe in the chat, you can let us know if you haven't already done that, where you're joining us from. And if you want, you can share a few words that like capture the essence of what brings you here today. I'd be really curious to hear from you. So let's see. My screen looks a little different than usual. Okay, so someone is coming from Boston, Lisa. Anyone want to share what, just curious? Hello from Utah. I work with kids. I'm from the Netherlands. Just what brings you? You've been following this for a long time. You want to know if anything's actually happening. You were part of the founding team. Connection with me. Oh, that's so nice. Calgary, Alberta. And just curious. Great, great. You wrote the curriculum, Marilee. That could be something you could write in there. All right. Okay. If anything, grateful to be here, expanding my widening perspective with community. Thank you, Tina. Hope for our future generations. Yes. I just started the Golden Path in the Gene Keys and came upon the Dream Arc. Wonderful. My North Node is universal love, and I'm ready to serve children and humanity now. Beautiful. Lots of beautiful bit emojis. Have used the coloring book for workshops. Oh, I love that. And wanting to learn more. Okay, great. Kia ora from my eyes are not, I didn't. New Zealand, following the threads of your sharings, Rosie, and inspired to connect and support any way I can here because you invited me. And I trust you, so I was curious. Aaron Neal, oh my God. Starbird from Santa Fe, passionate about universal love, curriculum, and wisdom for kids and the next generations. Oh, yeah. And Starbird also works with kids and has taught dance to kids for years. And she's my partner in singing a song about universal love. Cherish this project, love investing in the future, wanting to learn more about ULC and see how I might be able to support. Thank you, Shannon. Okay, wonderful. Thank you. Thank you all for sharing. No, it's a little awkward at first, but it helps me just to get a sense of who's here and why. Okay, so some of you may have seen the much more detailed update that I posted on YouTube towards the beginning of the year. So I'm not going to be repeating too much. And it's online for anybody who wants to see it at some point. But what I can do now is offer just a little summary or snapshot of some of what I shared in that update. And then we're going to move on to what's actually a practical deepening and expansion of that update. So, oh wait, Samson, are you here? Samson, he made it. I can see you now. Okay, very good. Okay, so basically, after some major pausing and adjusting and contemplating and shape-shifting last fall, I'm very happy to report that the ULC is alive and well, and it's actually moving, like there's movement happening. And at this point, as I shared earlier, we're really focusing on experimentation. and on staying as adaptable as possible and open to the feedback that's coming in from those of you who are starting to actively engage with the work, whose perspectives are going to, make up the heart of our call today. But before we get into that, one real milestone that I wanted to acknowledge and share with you is that we created a new website. And this website would not exist without Jessica Cristiano, who we'll all be hearing from today. Her generosity and her very personal understanding of what educators are facing in the US today really made this possible. And I really want to give a big shout out and thank you to Marilee, my wonderful sister, who's largely responsible for the depth and clarity and comprehensive beauty of the full Universal Love curriculum. And a thank you to Samson and Sharon and Mabel and Kenneth and Sarah and Professor Kabwayere and the other amazing members of our Uganda team. And of course, a giant thank you to Jamie Rose and Chris and Matthew and Tannen and Richard Rudd and the broader Dreamark and Gene Keys communities. And of course, a huge thank you to our generous and profoundly appreciated, more than you could ever know, donors. So Matthew, I thought that we might just kind of give people a little peek at the site. So when you're ready, you can just share your screen and click around a bit while I'm talking. And I thought, we can show people where they can find things. So there's this main page, which shares our purpose and core values and vision and heartfelt story, our principles of wholeness, the ULC's dedication to nurturing the body, the mind, the heart, the spirit of everyone who engages with it. And then we have the 3 ways into the ULC, which I'm going to be sharing a little bit more about in detail. And then Matthew, I'm thinking, how about you can click on the Who We Are page and just scroll down a little bit. People can always go to the website. It's universallovecurriculum.org when you want. But you can get a little visual here. And this is where we share, for example, like the original story of the project, about how it's connected to the Gene Keys and the Dream Arc, and honoring some of the people who've made significant contributions to the birth of this project. Right. And then we've got a page that's dedicated to the Universal Love Ripple campaign, and you're free to just click on that so people can see it, which is still going. So it's not too late to participate. And just check it out if you don't know what I'm talking about. I've actually got a playlist on my YouTube channel dedicated to what's coming through that campaign. And Starbird is in there with her little cutie pies dancing. And then there is a donations page and a contact page. So just to give you a sense that there's been some movement, we now have like an online presence, and I'm so grateful to Jessica and Sissy who helped with the design. She did such a beautiful job. So that's great. So Matthew, how about going back to the main page, and we're going to hone in on the 3 ways into the curriculum. So go down to where it says 3 ways in. And these reflect one of the main shifts that we've made in direction and priority since the fall. And that is, instead of launching the full curriculum right away, which is actually very comprehensive and could easily take a group of students through a year-long journey or more, we decided to make available 3 possible doorways into the Universal Love curriculum, or kind of like tastes of different sizes. So each one could be experienced as a whole journey, or they could be divided up into little bite-sized lessons or standalone exercises and experiences. And one reason that we decided to go this route at this time was because if I'd been hearing anything from educators and facilitators, as I've been kind of keeping my finger on the pulse, and people who are working with kids or just living with kids, it's that they really are asking for flexibility and like pluckable, practical entry points that they can add to or adapt to fit their needs and their wishes in the very particular context that they're operating inside of. And also, as you can imagine, getting like a whole curriculum accepted and implemented inside of educational institutions is a big, complex task, which requires more clarity and structure and volunteer support than we have at this time. And then also starting with kind of smaller, adaptable experiments felt like a really good way for us to start like asking for and receiving feedback from people who are able to start applying the essence of the ULC to their very unique situations. And so we created these 3 ways in to be like totally downloadable for free to anyone. So anyone, including any of you, can use any of these in whichever way feels exciting and useful. And I'm always interested in hearing how people are inspired to integrate the evolving ULC into their work or relationships with kids and youth and how you're making it work for you. Like I just heard from Tannen Shunter, who probably won't share today, but will share in another gathering about how he used one of the ways in with some kids in a program called Earth Connections in British Columbia. And that was super exciting. Okay, so very briefly, let's just stop by the first doorway, which is becoming a leader, lessons from the eagle. And Matthew, if you want, you can just click on the download button and scroll through what's there so people could just kind of have a look while I'm talking. And as you'll see, this one is simpler. I think it's I don't know, 15 page, 10 pages. It's grounded, it's very doable, it's relatable. It explores vision and courage and responsibility and inner knowing through relationship with one animal, the eagle, very powerful animal. So this was really inspired by Samson Turinawe and by a personal conversation we had that I fortunately recorded because whenever I talk to him, I'm like, I have to record this because he always says amazing things. And it happened during a moment when I was personally struggling majorly and really needed some wisdom and encouragement to like step into my own leadership and not run a mile a minute in the other direction because I was very tempted to do that. So, becoming a leader was designed to be like a very gentle and accessible entry point, five simple themes that connect animal wisdom to real life. And again, I'm really looking forward to Tannen sharing his experience integrating this into his work with kids out in nature. And he's a super creative, talented guy. So he's going to be contributing even more to it, and it's going to start developing. Like I'm hoping all of this will, as all of you kind of get sparked in your creativity, and it becomes more and more collaborative. Okay, so yeah, so I will, yeah, maybe that's enough about that. But you can find my full conversation or more like a therapy session with Samson on my YouTube channel on the ULC playlist, which I very much recommend. All right, so Matthew, let's move on to the Dreaming Hummingbird and just, do the same thing. Just click on the download button and scroll while I'm talking so people can have a little peek. This is much bigger. It's longer. I don't know if it's like 75 pages or something. So this has the potential to be a deeper, longer journey, though there are a lot of lessons and handouts inside that can be used individually. I do a lot of explaining too, a little more like background explaining about the connection between the curriculum and the dream arc and the gene keys and also like how teachers might fit it into their work with kids, what kind of subject matters could be applicable, that kind of thing. So in this module, the hummingbird acts as the guide into the realm of the dreamers. For those of you who may not know the connection between this curriculum and the dream arc, and I know most of you do, but you could say the dream arc is the wild stream of the gene keys, which includes a living codex written by Richard Rudd and illustrated by me. And it's also an online course that we co-created to enhance people's intuition, their creativity, connection to the natural world, and a growing community that Matthew and I have been deeply involved with and stewarding over the years. So the dreamers are one of the 12 pathways or categories of the DreamArc's cosmic life web, like the unifiers, the healers, the hunters, the messengers, the leapers, the journeyers, the warriors, the changers. These are like big, human themes that apply to everyone. You can see why the dream arc would be so perfect for kids. And all of these are integrated into the full comprehensive universal love curriculum that Marilee's been working on with such dedication. So this module is just one example of how a category might be explored. And what I really love about this is that it really lets kids or invites them into the realm of dreaming and not just sleep time dreaming, but dreaming as a way of listening, as a way of imagining and sensing and envisioning what kind of a world they want to create and live inside of. And it also introduces four core learning pathways: inner listening, shared exploration, cultural threads, and field encounters. And then finally, we come to the third doorway in, which I love. So this is creating your own dreamer family. and just do what you've been doing, Matthew. You're doing such a good job. Um, this one is all about empowering and guiding kids and youth and groups to co-create their own dreamer family. So instead of being given like a set of animals with pre-made descriptions and meanings, like people receive when exploring the dream arc in Richard Rudd's amazing and poetic Animal Codex, here they get to create with their own brilliance, right? Discovering and exploring animals and their meaning together based on where they live, based on their culture, their imagination, what their elders and myths have to say about the animals, their own lived experience. So they end up with a unique and shared language, their own lexicon, which in the full curriculum then becomes a collective oracle that they come back to and pull from and deepen through the various processes and exercises. So for me, this is where the curriculum really starts to shine because it grows with the people using it and will ultimately reflect this huge multicultural animal living codex or lexicon or library. And I just want you to know that our Ugandan collaborators have already started gathering together and defining their own kind of grouping of over 50 African animals that carry great spiritual and symbolic meaning. Mabel from Uganda in particular spent weeks just traveling around Uganda, interviewing elders and educators from different communities about animals, put it all together for us, along with over 500 proverbs. So, for anyone working with young people or even in a family setting, this could be a really fun and deep way to bring in creativity and invite in local and cultural wisdom. Okay, so now I think you've heard enough from me. And yeah, you can stop sharing now. Thank you so much, Matthew. And this is what I'm really excited about, which is it's time to hear from people who are already working with kids and getting a sense from them about what's happening in the world of education in both mainstream and alternative settings and what's needed by our youth, and how the curriculum, the ULC, can meet some of those needs in a variety of contexts. So the first person I'd like to introduce is Jessica. And I'm going to share a video together with Matthew that she lovingly prepared for us. She really wanted to join us live today, but had a family wedding that she has to attend. So it's important that she's there. So she generously just sat down and shared from her heart about what she's been witnessing and experiencing as an eighth grade teacher in the United States. And like I said, she is deep in the trenches. And I have to admit, when I watched her recording the other day, I cried more than a few times. So she told me I could edit and shorten it, but there was not a single word that I would have wanted to remove. So yeah, so I just want to say ahead of time too that she gave me way too much credit for the ULC. It's true that I'm like a major steward for this work, but this has been an evolving team effort with many different people playing different parts, very important roles at different times. So just keep that in mind when she says Rosie's ULC, because it's not just mine. Okay, so Matthew, feel free to share Jessica's video. I think it's about 15 minutes long, so get comfortable. And I'm going to mute myself now. Okay.
Thank you so much for having me here today to participate in this larger discussion around education. My name is Jessica Cristiano. I am a middle school teacher in Buffalo, New York. I'm dual certified in English language arts, grades 7 through 12, and in TESOL, grades pre-K through 12, which means I teach English to students whose first language is not English. And right now, that is my role. I serve as the English as a new language teacher in a middle school that is the central hub for multilingual learners in our district. In our middle school alone, grades 6 through 8, we serve approximately 75 ENL students. We are also a Title I school, which means that at least 40% of our youth, of our students, come from low income backgrounds, and in our case that percentage is well above 40%. Our student population is richly diverse, linguistically, culturally, socioeconomically. White students are the minority in our building, and every student and every classroom reflects a broad range of lived experiences, languages, and needs. I also want to share something personal about why I'm here and why this work matters so deeply to me. I'm 35 years old, and this is my first year as a classroom teacher. I made the decision to go back to school and earn my master's degree in education because I felt for years like I was watching a slow train wreck unfold in front of me, in front of us, the gradual erosion of the safety, well-being, and humanity of our youth. And so much of what I was witnessing was tied to the realities of the world we now live in, especially the pervasive presence of screens and the way technology has reshaped how young people interact with themselves and with one another. I went into teaching because I wanted to get inside the classroom. I wanted to be in the place where young people spend the majority of their day. I wanted to help bring back some of what I felt we were losing: empathy, connection, stillness, the ability to slow down, the ability to sit with yourself, and the ability to truly see another person. I came into this work deeply immersed in the research and the data. I knew the numbers, I knew the trends, I knew the statistics surrounding mental health among youth and their academics. But nothing could have prepared me for the reality of what it would feel like once I was actually inside the classroom. This year, in many ways, was a rude awakening for me. In addition to teaching, I also served as the JV girls basketball coach this past season, working with 9th and 10th grade students. So I was seeing our youth both in the classroom and on the court. So, both academically and athletically. And again, I was not fully prepared for what students and athletes of today are carrying. It rocked me. It still continues to rock me. But what that experience has also given me is a much deeper sense of empathy, because I look at the students through the lens of context. These students did not create the world they were born into. They were handed it. They were born into a world of constant stimulation, constant comparison, constant digital connection, and deep emotional disconnection. So the question for us as teachers, coaches, mentors, and adults is not how do we blame them? The question is, how do we meet them where they are? How do we become a bridge? How do we stand in the space between the reality they are living in now and the humanity we are trying to help them reclaim? Because we can't change overnight the world they're growing up in, but what we can create are spaces inside our classrooms, on our teams, in our homes, in our schools that begin to rebuild connection to self, connection to one another, connection to empathy, connection to nature. If you were to open the door to almost any middle school classroom in our building and across the country, this is what you would see first. A sea of Chromebooks, screens open, rows of students staring into blue light. The lesson is on the Chromebook. The lesson is on, the assignment is on the Chromebook. The directions are on the Chromebook. The response is typed into the Chromebook. More and more, the teaching itself is happening through the screen. There is less direct human exchange, teacher to student, student to student, and more learning mediated by technology. Technology entered the classroom around 2012, and since then we have seen an overwhelming amount of research showing academic decline. Reading and math scores have dropped significantly, and at the same time, the mental health of our youth, it has deteriorated at an alarming rate. Rates of anxiety, rates of depression, self-harm, and suicide have all increased dramatically. And when you look at the timeline of when these trends began, they align perfectly with the rise of smartphones, social media, and constant screen exposure. So while we can debate causation, the correlation is undeniable. And I see the effects of this every single day in the classroom. What technology has done is slowly and quietly strip away something deeply human. It's eroding our students' ability to connect. It's eroding their ability to empathize. I think most concerning, it's eroding their ability to connect to themselves. Because if a child cannot sit with themselves, cannot process their own thoughts, cannot feel and understand their own emotions, then it becomes nearly impossible for them to connect with another person. And that is exactly what we're seeing. And at the same time, there's a massive push across the country to integrate even more technology into the classroom. More specifically, artificial intelligence. Teachers are being trained to use AI. We're being encouraged to implement it. And whether we like it or not, AI in education is going to expand rapidly. And on the one hand, if we don't equip our students with the knowledge on how to use AI, they'll fall behind, because that's where this world is heading. But the problem is that no one is teaching our students about the dangers of AI or how to appropriately use AI. And no one's telling them what it's doing to them cognitively. It should be used as a tool, not as a total replacement for all of our thinking. And that's what makes this moment so critical, because we have already seen what prolonged exposure to screens has done to our students. And instead of slowing down, the system is accelerating, because, I mean, they're spending the majority of their waking hours mediated through a screen. So now more than ever, it is vital that our youth be reconnected to their humanity, reconnected to themselves, reconnected to one another, and reconnected to nature. And it's not just our students, it's us too, as adults, as educators, as parents, as a society. We are facing the same disconnection. If there has ever been a moment in history when we must intentionally teach what it means to be human, it is right now. And this is why I believe Rosie's Universal Love Curriculum is not simply helpful, it's the medicine our schools need. At its core, the curriculum is deeply human-centered. It teaches connection, it teaches intuition, it teaches presence. It teaches students how to reconnect with nature, with themselves, and to one another. Because when I look at the world around us, I see abundance on the outside. We have comfort, we have convenience, we have instant access to information, and yet inwardly, so many people, children and adults alike, are deeply impoverished. We are so rich with information, yet so poor in wisdom. We are constantly stimulated, yet emotionally starved. And that's why ULC's teachings matter. They're not extras, they're essential. Teachers now have an even greater responsibility. Parents have an even greater responsibility to not only help students grow academically, but to help them reconnect with the practices and experiences that make them fully human. And that's why I see the Universal Love Curriculum as a bridge, as the bridge. Not a quick fix, not a cure-all, but a deeply needed tool for helping young people find their way back to themselves. And I want to close by saying this. None of what I'm describing has to exist outside of the academic expectations we are held to as educators. There are absolutely ways to implement the Universal Love Curriculum into a classroom while still fully meeting state learning standards, academic objectives, and curriculum mandates. This is not about replacing academic rigor, it's about restoring humanity within it. One of the most powerful places to begin is with the questioning framework that is woven throughout the Universal Love Curriculum. That framework invites students to pause, reflect, make meaning, and connect what they are learning to themselves, to others, and to the world around them. And that can be done in any content area, whether you're in English, social studies, science, math, physical education. There are always opportunities to ask questions that move beyond simple recall and into reflection. Questions like, what does this teach us about ourselves? How does this connect to the human experience? How do we notice in nature that mirrors this idea? How might another person feel in this situation? How does this ask of us as human beings? What does this ask of us as human beings? Those kinds of questions do not take away from the lesson, they deepen it. They help students engage not only intellectually, but emotionally and relationally. And in doing so, they allow us to meet our academic objectives while also rebuilding the very things so many of our students are starving for: empathy, connection, presence, and self-awareness. No matter what subject you teach, there is a space to weave these teachings into the fabric of your classroom. Sometimes it begins with something as simple as a question, a pause, a moment of stillness, a chance for students to look inward before looking outward. Because if education is truly about preparing young people for life, then we must prepare them not only to perform, but to feel, to connect and to remain deeply human. And for that, I want to close by honoring Rosie for creating and sharing this medicine that our schools, our teachers, and most importantly, our children so desperately need right now. So thank you so much for taking the time to listen today, and to those wanting more for our youth. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Well, Jessica, wherever you are, thank you. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts, not just for your belief in the ULC, but for your heroic devotion to kids and to education and youth. You know, your love, your stamina, your insights, your vision. We are so grateful to you. And like I said, this is not my curriculum. This is totally a team effort, but thank you for the acknowledgement. And even though Jessica isn't here, I just thought, like, if anybody wants to like send a little heart or write any words in the comments that I will pass on to her, I know she would really appreciate it, because a lot of educators in the trenches can feel very alone, and like what they're doing doesn't matter. It's not making a difference. And so just for her to feel received by this group or anybody who watches the replay, I think would mean a lot to her. So thank you all so much. Okay, so next we are so incredibly lucky to have Gabriela Castillo with us today. And I am going to be hearing what she has to share with you at the same time that you are. Gabriela is a bridge builder who really connects people. She connects cultures and all sorts of co-creative possibilities. She was born in Ecuador and is currently living in Slovakia. And please correct me if I say anything wrong, Gabriela. She's begun exploring how this work might take root amongst the people she's been collaborating with in different contexts. So this is very different than the US, mainstream institution of education. These are other contexts that she's going to be looking at the ULC through and its possibilities. And before I give you the floor, Gabriela, I just want to acknowledge Costanza, who is a cherished contact of Gabriela's and the director of the Forest School in Ecuador, which you may hear more about either now or at some later time. So, Gabriela, I would love to invite you to share anything that you feel moved to share with us. And Matthew, this is the time to get her images and videos ready. And I'm so excited to hear what you have to say.
Mhm. Hello, everyone, and thank you, Rosie, for inviting me to be part of this gathering. I'm so happy to be here and to share a little about my journey with the Universal Curriculum of Love. My name is Gabriela Castillo, and I'm a trained biophysicist with experience in short DNA strands and its application in biosensing. I come from Ecuador, but I have been living in Slovakia for many years. Part of my roots are anchored in the Amazon region of Ecuador, and I have had a close relationship to that land since I was a child. Thanks to that bond, I have felt a deep connection to nature from a very young age. Currently, I build bridges to unite minds, hearts, and cultures in a comprehensive way to convey a message of uniqueness in harmony with nature. Also, draw parallels between different ways of life, experiences, and environments, and try to transmit them in the form of a story, an art creation, a lecture, or an experience in nature. I have been involved in meditation practices, and I'm also trained in the study of lineage, ancestors, and family tree. I put into practice all this knowledge together with my circle of collaborators, some of whom are also scientists, artists, educators, artisans, or just family members and friends with different gifts, abilities, and like-minded hearts who are passionate about their work. I'm also an enthusiastic storyteller who translates messages from the vegetable and animal kingdom as well as the indigenous legends about animals and plants into different languages and try to communicate them with love, inspiring others to learn about this kind of language to make a deep connection with the natural world. Together with my cousin Jorge Luis Merino Castillo and his wife Maria Merchan, I'm supporting a nature conservation project in the Ecuadorian Amazon in the province of Napo. Both are the owners of the Oro y Luna Lodge cabins, a place that offers a unique form of community-based and experiential tourism. Jorge and Maria work with other residents on various initiatives in a region threatened by the expansion of mining, the rescue of endangered and endemic species, the sustainable production of cacao and honey, and the conservation of forests and seeds are the main projects being developed in recent years. During my last visit to Ecuador, I had the opportunity to interact with different communities of artisans living in the Amazon. One of them is Aquacuna. In Quechua language, the indigenous native language, it means women weavers, who through their work seek to raise awareness about the conservation of endangered species. My first encounter with them took place during a workshop of natural plant-based cosmetics and the creation of woven toys filled with natural seeds, which we offered on the Amazon. Later on, when recalling the message of one of the soul's paths in the family tree, which is the path of the heart, I had a special re-encounter with bobinsana flower, known as yucto by the locals, a medicine plant for the indigenous communities, and the hummingbird, an emblematic bird of Ecuador. I received from the woman the first knitted creation of the messengers of love in the animal and plant kingdoms, bobinsana flower alongside a hummingbird, an image that can very often be seen in the gardens of the Amazon. I felt the quest and called it El Camino del Corazón, the way of love in Spanish. So that's how our collaboration was born. Beyond a message of conservation, the knitted animals and flowers could serve as a conscious reminder of nature's own messages, which through the act of weaving show us an interconnection, that everything and everyone on this plane is somehow unique in a vast network of consciousness, and that what unites us all is precisely love. As I began walking the path of the heart, I had the opportunity to meet an exceptional woman, Caroline Baquet. She's a scientist working on a project that investigates the brain behavior on butterflies in the Ecuadorian Amazon. She's also passionate about weaving, and she is the one who introduced the women of Aquacuna to their craft, teaching them weaving techniques. Some of the little animals are made from plant fibers, seeds, and natural pigments, creating an entire natural product. Caroline has also collaborated in the creation of Mocujo Zen Ecuador, the first meditation center in the rainforest region. She herself is a Zazen experienced practitioner. Today, this is a gathering place for meditation, weaving, and the elaboration of artisanal chocolate made directly from crops, as well as a community space where the mind finds ease, motor skills are developed, and hearts open through mutual sharing. In Caroline's own words, I think the world is going through a very difficult time right now. When we watch the news, we see that there is a great deal of despair at both local and global levels, which sometimes evokes sadness or hopelessness. But I think that small everyday actions, the way we live, the way we do things, can truly change the world. So my message, especially for young people, would be not to lose hope, because there are always things you can do. Even if they are small, you can always be yourself, and you don't have to be perfect. It's enough to be yourself and try to contribute, not always thinking only of yourself, but also thinking collectively, because our essence is not individual. It's always a part of a network, always with others, always together. And last but not least, in my experience of seeking meaningful connections in Ecuador, I would like to mention another exceptional woman, Constanza Carrasco, the director and founder of the Tena Forest School in the Ecuadorian Amazon, who recently received well-deserved recognition from UNESCO for her work at the Forest School, a pioneering project in Ecuador where children learn through experiential education directly in nature, gaining knowledge and ancestral wisdom. I mentioned Constanza here because I would like to honor her work, and because it seemed to me that the forest school would be an ideal space to develop the path of the heart and eventually implement the ULC. However, due to reasons beyond our control, this will not be possible for now. When circumstances allow and the time is right, maybe our paths may come together to walk the way of the heart side by side. For now, thank you, Conti, for being open to the proposal for collaboration. This was from the Ecuadorian part. On the Slovak side, and delving a bit deeper into the ULC project, I like to say a few words about my collaboration with my friend and colleague Susana Garayova. Susana is also a biophysicist and a creative soul. She also works as a mentor for girls and women in science, inspiring them through her work. We are connected by drinking 19 and a shared love and fascination for hummingbirds and nature. Together with Susie, we started organizing activities and talks for children on various topics related to love, nature, conservation awareness, our scientific trip to Ecuador, and looking through art for a deep connection with life. For us, the hummingbird is a messenger of joy as described in the dream arc. When you feel happiness, express it through colors in how you dress, how you create, how you live your life. Eventually, we plan to work with children, local forest schools, or educational centers interested in the ULC here in Slovakia, as a guide focused on creating a circle of guardian animals native to the region. At the same time, we will begin with the introductory message from the ULC Hummingbird chapter, bridging education, cultures, minds, and hearts. In terms of implementation of ULC in Ecuador, Caroline has agreed to make a first encounter in Mokusho-san Center, using the knitting to approach the essence of the hummingbird and local animals and plants. She will be happy to collaborate with this part with the children of the Aquacuna community. Finally, I would like to mention my dear friend from my high school days, Maria Gusta Simbaya, a language teacher who works with children at La Casa del Arte Ambulante, a cultural center in Quito, the capital of Ecuador. This is a place dedicated to the holistic development of children through alternative teaching, methods that foster creativity, sensitivity, and a sense of community. It offers workshops in movement, painting, clay modeling, mandala creation, and foreign language based on Waldorf pedagogy, creating a space where art, play, imagination, and care for nature accompany learning in a conscious and meaningful way. We spoke with Maria and her group about the possibility of launching the ULC with their children of Aquacuna at the Mokusho Center in the Amazon. And this is the preliminary plan. We will have direct contact with the local animal guardians, flowers, and trees in the botanical gardens and protected areas. It will be in collaboration with Jorge, Maria, and the forest guardians, the Pucha family in Napo province. With the assistance of Aquacuna and Caroline, we will have an experiential weaving activity with the animal and plants guardians, where through meditation and storytelling, we will connect with each of them. We will be using the Jinkies and the Dream Arc as supportive resource, and also be discovering our own circle of guardians by direct interaction. There is also a plan for the elaboration of our own therapeutic toys for each little animal, a connection through color, body conscious movement, development of intuition, breathing and chanting techniques, and foreign language teaching is proposed as a first approach. That's all from my side. And just for the end, I would like to share a quote of a German writer, Hermann Hesse, inspired by the talk that we just listened from Jess, that to be human is to see in the way of nature, know what it is, but what we are. Thank you.
I'm just taking it all in. It's so, yeah, just send hearts, words for Gabriela. What a rich, oh my God, what a rich array of possibilities. It's so inspiring and delicious and colorful and alive. I'm just so inspired. Thank you so much, Gabriela. I'm so excited to see what you do with the ULC, along with everything you're already doing with these amazing people. So Thank you so much. And anyone, if you feel inspired, just, share your gratitude. And I'm just aware of our time. I want to make sure we have time to move on. So again, thank you from the bottom of my heart, Gabriela. So exciting. Oh my God.
Thank you. Thank you to you, Rosie. Thank you, really.
Amazing. Okay, so finally, it gives me tremendous joy to share with you. What I'm loving is the diversity of even what we're just touching on today. Some of what's been going on in Uganda in a video first, and then after that, I'd love to invite Samson Turinawe, if the internet allows, to share some words with all of us now that we're here together. And as you'll soon see, what's happening in Uganda represents our most embodied expression of the ULC so far. Samson and a whole team of educators are bringing all of the three ways into schools and communities. This is probably the closest thing we have to like a pilot program, and it would not have been possible without those of you who have made donations to the ULC. So thank you. You know who you are. So Matthew, do you want to share the video that we prepared? It's just about 5 minutes long, I think.
Hello, friends. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I'm Turinawe Samson, speaking from Uganda in East Africa, here at Universal Love Alliance. I take this opportunity to welcome you to Universal Love Curriculum Gathering in this month of April 2026. Before I go any further, let me extend heartfelt thanks to Richard Root for creating and discovering Gene Keys. Gene Keys provides knowledge, applies and provides most of the challenges we are facing today in our world. Dr. Rosie Aronson, my sister, I extend my sincere thanks for working hard, spending time, energy and resources to make sure that Universal Love Curriculum gets into this world. Dr. Marie, thank you very much for the hard work that you have done in the process of creating Universal Love Curriculum. Our friends and Universal Love Curriculum team, thank you. History is being made. Together, we are writing a new chapter on this planet. In Uganda, Universal Love Curriculum is doing great, is appreciated. People are embracing it. Together with Universal Love Alliance team of committed volunteers, we have reached parents, teachers, and children. Parents appreciate and embrace Universal Love Curriculum on grounds that Universal Love Curriculum is culturally relevant. Universal Love Curriculum embraces all ethnic groups in Uganda. Uganda is a heterogeneous nation that has many different ethnic groups. But the beauty of Universal Love Curriculum embraces all these differences. So far, parents have been reached, and after attending training and workshops organized by Universal Love Curriculum team here in Uganda, parents have recommended this curriculum to be embraced or to be delivered to their children. This is amazing. Universal Love Curriculum has not only reached parents, but also educators, teachers, principals. And one point that is amazing, Universal Love Curriculum fits in the education system of Uganda. In Uganda now, Uganda Ministry of Education is promoting continuous assessment curriculum where children are educated on skills that can help them to think for themselves. And the Universal Love Curriculum came at a right place and at the right time. because universal love curriculum allows students to think for themselves, to imagine of things that they love and resonate in the environment. And then this imagination makes them to choose the creation around them, choose some creation which they reflect on and meditate on and fall in love, and then create that creation that resonates with their spirituality and imagination. As you are seeing in the videos, children creating and molding using clay and creating different animals, different creatures of their own and of their imagination. And this is spirituality of Africa. Parents have chosen different animals, different plants, and this educates them and makes them to reflect on their characters and behaviors and on how they have been living with others. And this has made many people in the communities to change the way they have been living, to change the way they have been viewing the world, to change the way that they have been seeing themselves. Universal Love Curriculum empowers people to think for themselves, to think of the solutions, and by learning within the environment, by learning from the other creation of God, by learning from the Gaia and the beauty that Gaia gives us, to enrich themselves and solve day-to-day problems in their lives, in their families, in their business, in their communities, and in their professions. Thank you, friends, that chose to stand with us and continue standing with us as we are writing this chapter to make a world a better place. No matter the problem is, something can be done. Thank you. Thank you very much. Together, we are co-creating a more loving world. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Oh, oh, thank you so much, Samson. It's really quite amazing. It brings me to tears every time I see what you're doing over there. Would you like, Sam? I mean, you already shared a lot in that video, so maybe there isn't, maybe, you know what I'm thinking, Samson? Maybe what I would like is for you to bring our time together to a close and maybe do like a blessing for us. How does that sound? Are you up for that? Good? Thumbs up? Okay, good. All right, because you know you are such an inspiring human being. And just thank you, and all the people who are working together with you, the parents, the teachers, the children, the educators, even politicians. This, again, it's a village effort, and you're kind of showing that to us in so many ways. So thank you so much. And anyone, if, you know, I've seen all the hearts flying out, but if there are any like words you want to share, I'll make sure that Samson and his team can see them afterwards. And I'm sorry if the video was a little choppy. When I do the replay, it won't be, but it is just so beautiful, and I can tell everyone got the spirit of it. Oh, you're my brother, and I love you to the moon and back. Okay, so thank you to everybody who's still here with us for your listening, your love, your care about what we're doing. I was thinking it would be nice to hear from just a few of you, just a few short words who feel moved to share if we have time, to make room for a few voices. And if you don't want to share in voice, you can share in the chat. Things I'd love to know is anything that resonated with you or a place where you feel some inspiration, perhaps to even engage with the curriculum in some way, what that might be, what context you could imagine yourself bringing it into a classroom, your family, a group, a community. So, would anyone like to just share a few words? And if not, that's also okay. I can see Tannen said, so beautiful, inspiring, and claps from Marilee. George, Samson, you and your team are so full of dynamism. I am super excited about the future of humanity and this foundational support for kids. Beautiful. Yeah.
I'm just beside myself because it's so different to have sort of a sense of what's happening in your own mind and then to see ways that this can be expressed through each person's genius and way of loving the world and loving children. And I'm just so deeply inspired. And to each of our, every one of you and the people who've been featured today, it's just so moving.
And for those that don't know, that's my sister Marilee, who really just poured so much love and intelligence and life experience into the curriculum itself and helped me with the 3 ways in, as my mom did. Thank you, Marilee. Isn't it amazing? Shall we all go on a world tour? Anyone else feel inspired to share? Oh, George.
Yeah, I love this because I have so many ideas. Just met a lady that held my sister's 22nd grandchild for the first time, and I did Richard Rudd's Blessing at Birth 2 years ago, where I'm at, and she wanted to create something for kids, and I showed her the Dream Mark, and she just fell in love with it, and she got the book, the Gene Keys book, and she hasn't stopped reading it. I think she's on Gene Key 25, but she just got it last week and she just won't stop. But she hasn't even seen the power of the Dream Arc and what it's going to bring for kids. And I've had so much things come to my imagination, but I never even imagined how much work you and this team and Samson you put into it. Oh, I'm excited. I'm really excited because I have so many. I love that the Dream Arc is coming out in October. I've had, meetings with Matthew about creating a game for kids and called it an after school mystery school program. But it's exciting. I'm really excited about this. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for your hearts.
Thank you so much, George. George is an animal lover beyond anyone's imagination. Jamie Rose, I'd love to hear from you.
Can I just say one thing?
Oh, that's my mama.
Yeah, I'm a teacher, and I was taken with the fact that the 3 people who contributed were from completely different parts of the world and completely different situations. And they were able to find the universal love curriculum meaningful to them. And I think that's the whole purpose, that the curriculum is supposed to be relatable. And also, what I think is wonderful about it is that, first of all, the child is called into himself, as the teacher said from New York. And then he's called, according to the materials, into the group. He relates to the group. He dives deep into himself, then he relates to the group around him, and then together the group relates to the world around them. So it's just there's a world of good in the curriculum. And as we can see, it can be interpreted in so many ways in so many cultures. So I really applaud the effort, and I really hope it goes forth. Thank you.
Thank you, Mom. You've been a huge contributor to this curriculum, Mom. So thank you so much. And an inspiration in my life and Marilee's life from day one and before that even. Thank you. Yeah, Jamie Rose.
I was really just going to echo that actually, of just it was so beautiful to see the different practicalities and how people are implementing this in their own way. And just even, I know Tannen's here and we haven't heard from him, but like seeing his videos as well of like what was coming out. And I just feel really inspired and just like in awe, Rosie, of what you continue to shepherd and the work that you've just poured into this and the community that's building around it and the real life application that I'm seeing. And I've met so many different parents here in Victoria that I've kind of just like shared the website with or like dropped those little cards that we had printed with the URL code on it. And so I just feel the ripple that you've started, that we've started, everyone has started, that's been a part of this. And it's just really, really inspiring to see it continue to like go out and touch lives. And yeah, just felt really, really inspired and wanted to say thank you for all that you're doing.
Thank you. We wouldn't be here without you, Jamie Rose, as you know. Thank you. So Aaron, oh my God, I haven't seen you in years.
Hey, how you doing, Rosie?
Amazing you're here. Welcome.
Nice to see you. Thanks for the invite. Yeah, this is my first experience. I do remember years ago, you kind of a little bit about this with Richard, and anyway, so it's amazing to see what it's developed into. I think my biggest thought that I wanted to share is just how inspiring it is. I just to see that, I have a belief and I'm always trying to share with people. There's so many good things going on in the world. There's so many terrible things going on in the world. But it's all there is. And I know it's so hard for people to see it sometimes. And even, sometimes I generally see it, but sometimes it's like, man, there's a lot of shit going on. But it's just so inspiring to see life or spirit or source or whatever, however you conceive of it, to see life calling out to people and inspiring them like you and the whole team. And then to see you all answer that call and then create something like this. And it just increases my hope and my trust that life is doing that with you, and it's doing it with thousands and millions of people all over the earth. And most of it's not seen. Like, this is not going to, well, it'd be great if eventually maybe it's on CNN, but most of this stuff is never seen, but it's there. And it just increases my trust in life. And that's how the world changes. We get overwhelmed with these huge problems and somehow think, oh, it's my job to solve all the world's problems. But, it's a collective. And so I'm so inspired to see the evidence of that, and it ripples out. And I trust that life is calling to millions of people like all of us. And it will change. It is changing. And it starts small, but just feeling really grateful and inspired to see evidence of something that I've really believed in, that delving into the gene keys and the great change has helped me to believe, but to see the evidence is just amazing. And I just appreciate you and love you. You're just wonderful and just love you.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. That was a beautiful, beautiful sharing and an important reminder for all of us. So Marilee, you will be the last, and then we're gonna tie up because I want Samson to give a little blessing.
Very quickly, and thank you, Aaron. That was beautiful. And Rosie, you're going to kill me when I say this, when I ask this, but if any of you have specific things, I mean, we have a lot of material to work with and different directions we can go with it. So if any of you have specific desires, if you are interested in seeing the breadth of the curriculum, or if you want more of the smaller deliverables, it would be great just to get your take on it. Not that, it's easy to get it out, but we would love to hear that. That would be super, super helpful. So.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We're very open to feedback, and there's a contact page on the Universal Love Curriculum website. You just give us your feedback, your wishes, what's working, what's not, your situation, and we're listening. We're still listening. So I'm aware of the time. So we're going to bring our time together to a close. And again, I want to thank each of you for being here, and a special thank you to Jessica, Gabriela, and Samson for your sharing today. And as you can see, we're still experimenting, we're learning, we're refining. Like Marilee said, we're listening, we want feedback, but something is happening, which makes me happier than words can express, especially during these times. Just finding ways to nurture the wisdom of our children and the children inside of us, to help all the inner children think independently and love generously and reach beyond differences in order to find commonality, feels so much more important than ever. So if any of you feel a genuine resonance with what you've seen and heard today and feel moved to support the work, we would be so grateful. I really mean it when I say that what's happening right now, especially in Uganda, has been made possible through the generosity of this community. We currently have enough support to carry that project through the end of this term. And after that, we're going to need to find new ways to sustain it. And we also have a real longing, like Marilee said, to continue developing the core curriculum and to explore what this could become, whether it's a published offering or simple tools for educators, games for facilitators and families that they can use in their daily life. The 3 ways in are freely available as a way of sharing this work openly and allowing people to just start working with the spirit of the ULC right away. So a really meaningful way to support the work is just to use it. Bring it to your classrooms, your families, your communities, your summer camps. Blend it together with your own creativity in your own way. Let us know what happens, what's working, what's needed, what you're discovering along the way, because this is a living, evolving curriculum or movement, and your experience is really going to help shape what it becomes. And then, of course, if you feel called to support this work financially, or you know someone who might want to, in whatever way that feels right to you, your contribution will make an enormous difference. And there is a donate page on the ULC website with instructions, and donations are tax deductible and will go directly into supporting the ongoing life and development of this work. So what I would love, we don't have too many minutes, Samson, and I'm so sorry about that, but would you bring us to a close with your beautiful heart and send us on our way with a blessing?
Thank you, Dr. Rosie. I take this chance to thank everyone that has joined this gathering tonight. I thank and appreciate everyone that has shared. Jessica, Gabriela, your sharing was very powerful and touching. Moving forward, appreciating Richard Lude for his efforts and commitment to working to develop gene keys. Long live Richard. In your absence here, we appreciate you at this ULC gathering. Mother, I was happy to see you and joining us. It is an injustice not to say hello to you, Mother. I will recognize you in a special way. Thank you, Mother.
He's talking about my mom, Marilee's mom.
As we are crossing this and requested to share a blessing, of course, a blessing, this is a blessing of nature, a blessing of Gaia. At this particular time, I request each of us, if you can, to connect with any creation of your choice and reflect at its creation. Connecting with the creation and nature of your choice or nothing. This puts you into a process of creation with the Creator. When the world is changing, technology is coming up, and the world is facing many challenges. But Gaia continue to provide for us ways of survival. Discoveries in technology like AI. Yes, we may need it. It provides knowledge but it does not provide wisdom. We can only get wisdom from nature. And the universal love curriculum acts as an immunization against challenges that are coming with nature to stop the creation and people from thinking for themselves. In Uganda, universal love curriculum is focusing on parents, teachers, and children. And it acts as an immunization of children's minds that as they grow up in a challenging world with different information from different sources, that they can be able to separate the wrong information from the right information. Universal Love Curriculum immunizes young people against anything that stops them from connecting with nature and learning within themselves. That's learning within their minds, that learning with nature of what they believe in, and that connects with them as a creation. A blessing. As we gather tonight, Gaia, you continue to provide for us. Open our inner wisdom to see your beauty as seeds flung out of soil, as food and grass that we enjoy from nature. Rain that we get from nature, water that we draw from rivers, wells, oceans, lakes, underground, and purify it for our survival. Gaia, continue opening wisdom for us and give us a spirit. We appreciate you. We welcome you in our hearts, in our daily life. Until the next gathering.
Thank you so much.
Namaste.
Namaste. I love how you say namaste.
Oh,
Like my favorite. Oh. Okay, well, thank you all. You lasted the full 90 minutes. Sending you so much love. If you want, you can kind of unmute yourselves and we can all say goodbye and thank you. And to the next time, I will let you know when we have another gathering. And Matthew, thank you so much for just taking care of all the tech and just being such a solid support in my life. Okay, bye.
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 Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
you.
Bye.
Ciao, ciao.
Ciao, ciao.
Ciao.
Bye.
Adios.
Adios.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.